Hello, my beautiful friend. Fill up your kettle, choose your tea leaves, and let's have a tea party. My connection to and love for tea parties started when I was just a little kid. I have an amazing aunt who, when I was growing up, I only got to see every year or every couple of years, and she was just such an amazing presence and force in my life. I looked up to her so much as a kid. She did musical theater professionally in LA. She had the coolest hair. She always had these beautiful nails done. She just seemed so fancy and so sophisticated, and I was just very enamored with her. I still am. And every time that she would come to visit, she would do this very fancy, what seemed to be very fancy tea ritual every afternoon. She would bring these tins of loose leaf tea with her and these thin paper filters, and she would create this beautiful pot of tea for herself every afternoon. She would take the nicest cup that she could find, and she would sit down and she would make herself a cup of tea. She would read a book. It all just looked so chic. And it was very, very cool. Well, one day she looked at me and she said, "Do you like tea?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I love tea." And she invited me to be part of her tea party ritual for that day. And I cannot tell you the level of I just felt like such a grown-up. I felt so sophisticated and mature. I felt so special. I felt so worthy. I felt so valuable and wanted. And it was something that was very special just for the two of us. I had younger siblings, but they weren't invited to participate. It was just us big girls, just us older girls who got to do this tea party. And when I would be sipping my tea and spending this time with my aunt, I just felt like the greatest version of myself. I felt like I was having these articulate and very thoughtful, very intelligent conversations. She taught me so much about life. She inspired me so much. And when I had those tea time moments with her, I just knew that I was enough. And it was an incredible feeling that she imparted to me by sharing those moments with me. Now, when she would leave our visit, it was devastating for me. I was so sad. It was before video calls and all of that, but I was just so sad when she would leave. And one thing she would do for me every single time is whatever tea we hadn't finished off from the tins of tea that she had brought, whatever tea we hadn't finished, she would give those tins to me. She'd give me the rest of those paper filters, and I would get to savor and nurture those tea leaves for the rest of the year or the year and a half until I got to see her again. And they became a treasure. They became the most just sacred thing. I loved them so much. And now that I was the bearer of these fancy tea leaves, I felt the responsibility to be able to share that beautiful tea time experience with others. I began doing nice afternoon tea for my little brother and little sister, and it became a tradition that we shared on a regular, pretty much daily basis. Now I was the one who got to set up a beautiful afternoon moment and invite others to come in and feel how worthy and desired and enough and valuable they were to me. over the years, as with everything that I do, I started to get really into it. So I would go out antiquing and start looking for old lacy napkins and china teacups. I want to just elevate the experience. Almost every friend that I ever met in high school, the first thing that I ever did was like invite them over for a fancy tea party. There were so many people who were like, oh, the first time I ever came over to your house, you threw me this like really fancy tea party. I loved to bake and create and make beauty on the plate. I loved that I could create a special occasion or a celebration or basically almost a holiday whenever I wanted to. And I could bring that sense of excitement and occasion to other people as well. I loved the fact that I could invite people over and they could have that experience of knowing that they were special, that they were invited, that I had prepared for them. They were deserving of a special occasion just for them. I absolutely loved all of the fancy, pretty, beautiful things, but I remember at one point I was setting up a really fancy tea party for my little brother and my little sister, and I was using some china teacups that my grandmother had given to us. So they were special, they were beautiful, they were delicate, but they were also sentimental. And I remember my younger brother looking at me and being like, please don't let me drink out of that. He was so worried. He was so worried that he would break it. And then I was realizing, oh, having that really special teacup isn't actually making the experience better for him. It's making him feel kind of less comfortable in the experience. And so I realized that yes, for some people, that really fancy presentation was exactly what they needed to feel really special. And for other people, scaling it down a bit would still give that wonderful tea party celebration feeling, but would actually be more of a comfortable, inviting, and warm experience for them. One of the things I absolutely adore about my siblings and the relationship that I had with them growing up is that we would consider each other as friends. So when we would have friends over, our siblings would be involved as well. When they had their friends over, they would invite me as well. I was one of their friends also. And so I remember making tea parties, sharing tea parties for not only my brother and sister, but for their friends as well. And one of the things that's like one of my most special memories is that my younger brother, even when he was in high school, he would bring his guy friends over to have a tea party with me all together. And I scaled it down. I used to call it a man tea because instead of the fancy teacups, because they were more comfortable with it, we did mugs. Instead of cutting cucumber sandwiches into tiny pieces, I just gave them the whole freaking sandwich. But we were having a tea party together, and these high school boys would share about their life, and they would ask for advice, and they would talk about the things that were important to them. They felt special. They felt welcome. They felt deserving. And yes, men can absolutely enjoy a tea party with a fancy teacup. Absolutely. These young men preferred the mug, so that's what we went with. But absolutely, you enjoy that fancy, dainty teacup, whoever you are, because fancy, dainty teacups are like magic and the beauty of life. They're for everybody in my book. One key thing that I learned is that no matter the setup, taking the time out to create something special for someone, to invite someone to have a moment of presence with you, is an amazing gift that makes others feel the worthiness that they deserve to feel, the special and uniqueness that they deserve to feel. What I realized over the years is that I could extend those same feelings of worthiness back towards myself. That if I took the time out each day to really set up a nice cup of tea for myself, a little plate of fresh fruit, a little piece of dark chocolate, if I made myself just a beautiful little tea party every single day, that was an act of self-love, self-care, and that it really played into building my sense of self-worth. Taking and making the time each and every day to say to myself, you are worthy of this moment of beauty. You are worthy of this moment to just be, to have this amazing cup of tea, to be able to just sit and be present with this moment. Nothing expected of you but that you are here, that you appreciate, that you enjoy, and that you know that you are loved. This is something that has really helped cultivate a sense of self-love in my own life. And now don't get me wrong, this isn't the same as just drinking a cup of tea, because I drink tea all day, every day, from the moment I wake up and make my first cup of my Ayurvedic CCF tea till the moment I go to bed at night and have my herbal blend. I am never not drinking tea, but the tea time itself is something different than simply having a cup of tea. It is a moment, a deliberate moment set aside to say, hey, you are special, you are valuable, you are worthy. You are worthy of this moment. You are worthy to just be. And so, my beautiful friend, today I invite you to experience the inspiring, joyful, magical act of making a little tea party for yourself. And with every sip, remembering that you are worthy and you are deserving of inspiring moments in life. And even though I do tea time every single day, there's still nothing quite like that first sip. Oh. Be blessed, be light, and be the magic.